I'm treated like a pro, but the NCAA states that I'm an amateur. Amateurism is defined as the practicing of an activity, especially a sport, on an unpaid rather than a professional basis, the fact or quality of being incompetent at a particular activity per the Google search engine. Previously, before 2021, this was the exact way the NCAA defined amateurism, unpaid. Now there is a new landscape among college athletics that say different. Amateur college athletes can get paid and the NCAA is now behind it. I wouldn't say that this was their plan, but they were essentially forced into this due to the years of debate, court battles, and contention among athletes for universities and the NCAA earning money for their name, image, and likeness, or NIL. NIL deals and benefits hit the scene and spread like wildfire, as if this was the expectation and the new trend among college athletics. A California court ruling in 2020 favored college athlete compensation, and states across the U.S. followed suit. There are still states that do not have legislation, but the NCAA followed the majority and now allows NIL benefits to athletes. There is a collective now what that is hovering over NIL benefits currently because they are allowed, but how are the benefits regulated? Can these benefits prove detrimental to programs, athletes, or college sports as a whole? Problems that have arose secondary to NIL benefits are racism, sexism, possible tax liabilities, unfair recruiting practices, and public disagreements among coaches. Some of these players are becoming overnight millionaires due to lucrative deals made with advertisers and do not have the proper representation, such as attorneys and accountants that have their best interests in mind. A high school senior who has committed to the Miami Hurricanes has signed the largest NIL deal to date, worth $9.5 million. Wow. As of this year, Bryce Young, the University of Alabama quarterback, has earned the most NIL compensation, totaling $3.2 million. These numbers are mind-boggling for high school and young college students who have likely never worked a job while devoting their youth to sports. Some students in lower-tier programs may not earn these amounts, but anything more than $12,550 has to be filed and could affect their Pell Grant status. These benefits place them in self-employed category for taxes, which require self-employment tax liabilities. The tax liability on those larger earnings is substantial, and if not properly represented, these students would be in position for tax trouble. NIL benefits have presented a new recruiting incentive. A coach or a program may offer a player the opportunity for access to a lucrative NIL deal if they come to their school. This provides an unfair advantage and would be considered unethical. Arguably, the most prominent coach in college football, Nick Saban, publicly accused another coach, Jimbo Fisher, from Texas A&M, of these practices during the 2022-2023 football season. This was a major acquisition and fed into an unknown of NIL benefits and its effect on players and programs. There has been a trend of women receiving NIL benefits based on their appearance, not their gameplay. The nation's top women's basketball athlete in South Carolina, an Afro-American woman, has one of the smallest NIL deals among athletes her caliber, while lower-tier athletes may have larger deals due to their perceived sex appeal. Many athletes are picked for deals based on their social media metrics, such as activity and followers, to determine if they are chosen. Who has the most followers? Or who does this player appeal to with their followers? Is often the question in smaller markets. The 2021 number one recruited player, Travis Henry, who previously committed to a top Florida university in the Atlantic Coast Conference, or the ACC, decommitted and signed to attend a historically black university in Mississippi. The NIL rules vary by state, and the ACC has lobbied for legislation to present or limit or altogether restrict NIL benefits in Florida following a decision by one player. This makes NIL benefits a powerful component in college athletics. This list of variables brought to collegiate athletics in the last year adds a long list of things that could affect college sports that are unfair to us. This new territory we have entered with NIL is likely here to stay, but we have no clue on how to regulate this ethically. Should there be cap on earnings? Should players be required to have representation to protect their interests? Remember, acquiring an agent makes you ineligible to play. We can't determine who advertisers gives a deal to, so how can NIL even seem fair or just? NIL may have solved a large issue by allowing players to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness, but how do we protect all the parties involved in these deals? How do we protect collegiate athletics? Is amateurism in college a thought of the past, and we are now in a new territory of semi-pro sports? This will need to be considered on the state, federal levels in the next few years with inclusion of stakeholders to come up with a solution.